Dad's Gaming Podcast.
And welcome to the Delirious Dad's Gaming Podcast. It is February 25th, 2019. I'm one of your hosts, Clinton Stanley. I'm here with Ryan Maddock.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm also here with my boy, Hunter Venable.
What's going on?
And I don't know if the listeners, well, obviously the listeners can't see you, but Hunter is rocking a Elton John type look tonight with a Kansas City Chiefs stocking cap.
So literally both items are Elton
sunglasses.
John-esque.
Yes, he borrowed the sunglasses from his wife.
Why are Kansas City Elton John attire?
Kansas City's not. I'm saying it's Elton John attire with Kansas City.
Oh, okay.
This is where I was rolling
what I
with.
said.
One of these days, ladies and gentlemen, I will learn how to get our Skype call onto the live stream,
Twitch.
and then we'll actually have some video footage of us, but I cannot figure out how to do it yet, so there you go. Anyway, what's going on with you guys, Ryan?
For me, I'm kind of snapping back into the whole getting my head on straight, losing the weight, being committed, you know what I mean? Getting in that game of eating healthy, which I always kind of try to do, but combining that with like real high heart rate exercise for once.
Nice.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about dipping my toe in that, but not yet.
Well, the
Thinking
problem
about
is
it,
you can't just dip your toe. It's got to be all in,
Full
or
on.
it's really not worth it. Yeah.
I got you.
I mean, I got serious about working out like, I don't know, about 3 years ago. Worked out for like 3 or 4 months straight, lost some good weight, and then just fell off track.
Yeah.
That's the only time I really committed to really working out, like high heart rate workouts,
Right.
along with a basic diet. But
The weird part for you too, though, is like you're not really addicted to sodas or anything like that. So you kind of struggle more just keeping the weight, just eating I guess more meats, right?
I mean, I'm just fat, yeah.
I was going to try to be a little more nice about it tonight.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but yeah, I haven't gained weight in a long time. It's been like 7-8 years. I've been at like 315.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's with kind of a pretty good diet. I don't eat a bunch of snack food. There's no, Nutter Butters in the cabinets. You know what I mean? No sodas and stuff like that. I eat junk when I'm out or when I'm, doing something fun with friends.
Yeah.
I'm not just a no junk guy, but I definitely eat less junk than most people. But, what you realize is it's metabolism.
Mm-hmm.
And so either you can complain that your metabolism is slow and this isn't right like I do. Why do my other friends get to eat so much and they're still skinny? I do all that stuff.
Right.
And I finally just started thinking, you know what? Then I just need to do whatever it takes to speed my metabolism up.
Exactly. You're not them, and deal with it, right?
That's right.
Exactly. Yep.
Quit crying and get after it.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing.
Well, my biggest enemy is soda and chips lately. So
Yeah.
getting off that's kind of a struggle. But I do plan on stepping it
Sugar's
up.
a rough one to get off of, for sure.
Maybe we need to start like a contest or like an event blog of dieting and exercise to keep ourselves accountable. We can post it on the website.
Seems like I knew 2 friends that tried that before.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, but this would be out to the world, right?
Yeah.
We wrote up
to the standard of the show.
Me and Clinton wrote up a contract one time.
I still have
and
that
we
contract.
Signed it. I do too. And we probably stuck to it for a month.
Yeah.
My thing is like in the past when I've targeted my cardio, I actually lose weight pretty fast. Like I get really good results, so I don't understand why I can't stick with it or why I don't just keep doing it. Because I mean, I'll really do it for a couple weeks and drop 10 pounds. And I'm like, why is it so hard for me to keep going when I've had such good results?
Yeah.
Yeah, and even when you're working out, like while you're working out, it's all good. When you're done working out, you're like, that was not that bad. It's all good. Feels good. I feel good. You know what I mean? Get your endorphins going. But before you go to that workout, you'll find every reason you can to not work out, man. I'm just so tired of it at the time.
And for me, the hard part too.
Early.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, that's a good reason.
Yeah, I said my excuse right now is like I get home and I'm like, I got up at 5 o'clock this morning. I don't want to go, but that's silly. I need to go.
For me, the hard part is when I used to work out, back in the old high school days, I had never been out of shape. We were always doing something. And even if it was off season, I was running and lifting for whatever, for wrestling or whatever. And so I never really had to learn how to push past that out of shape thing, right? Like I never been like really bad out of shape. And now, every time I go, it's just I'm so bad out of shape and I try to push it. Like I feel like a real workout, a man's workout, in my opinion, right, in my own mind, is what I used to do. And I can't do that. especially coming right out of the gate. And so then I get all sorts of depressed because I'm like, man, I can't do it anymore. And then I'm hurting. And so I just need to accept where I'm at and, do some small increments to get there.
Yep.
But, yeah, I definitely want to lose some weight, too, because this last year has not been kind to Dad.
No.
On the weight.
It has not. Seems like every time I see you, I'm disappointed.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, that's all right.
Dad has not been too good to himself
this year. That's coming from a 315-pounder.
Wow, you just stay your weight out there on the spot, huh?
Oh, yeah. I'm not afraid of that because that weight's going down. That weight's temporary.
Okay, I got you. Mind over matter.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a lot of matter, but yeah, I got a lot of mind too.
Well, maybe we need to do a status update and just start officially gauging where we're at.
Gotcha.
I hit up a guy on Twitch the other day on the Delirious Dads gaming channel.
Mm-hmm.
Bajira is his name, so a lot of people, if you go search him up, plays a lot of Warcraft, or World of Warcraft. And anyway, I hit him up on there, asking him about some workout tips and whatnot. He's a professional bodybuilder, and so I'm like, dang, I want to be like that guy because, one, he plays like games for a living, and then two, he's in super shape, looking good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, well, that's two worlds I could live in. I could get in shape and play games. So,
right. Yeah,
it can be done. It's just discipline,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And just knowing that you can.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Hunter, what's going on with you, buddy?
Well, just working. Natalie got back from a trip this weekend, and so it's always good to have her back from her trips. They're not very long. She goes on trips through her business that usually take about 2 to 3 days, but she left this last week, and that's when we're able to do our stream. But it's always nice to have her back for sure.
Oh, we're all a little bit exhausted from the Friday night stream. We streamed Resident Evil 2. We did not beat the game, but I think we're pretty close.
Oh yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I think we're at least halfway through.
How many hours did we put in, guys?
When I looked at the videos up, 8 hours plus. Yeah. I loaded it up. It was probably like 8 hours and 20 minutes, something like that.
Even if we beat Leon's story, you still have
Claire's.
Claire's.
We got Claire's too. Yeah, so we're not halfway through.
Oh, I forgot about that.
You act like it's a bad thing.
But it was,
well, if we stay up till 5 in the morning,
Oh, yeah.
Well, we did. It was almost 4 o'clock when I went home. It was almost 4 a.m. And then I got my booty up bright and early to go to a church event, and I catered for like 120 men.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. I went to Oklahoma City they had the Oklahoma State Wrestling Tournament. My nephew was in it, was competing in it, and so he had made it to the Saturday part of the tournament, and so I got up there, had to get up at, 7:30 in the morning. Anyway, we got up there, and he placed third in the state tournament. So that's my boy Caden Stanley. Good job, buddy. Proud of you. So yeah, I went and did that. My wife drove us up there. I took a little nappy nap on the way. Claire was like loving the wrestling. She wanted to be down on the mat, I had to tell her no, you're not old enough. Maybe someday in a girls' league. But so yeah, it was a long weekend, I think, for all of us. Ryan stayed at my house and slept in, and then sent me a picture of eggs.
Mm-hmm. That I made on your stove.
That he made on my stove.
Yeah.
Just to let me know, hey, I slept in. I told you I'd go and be a man, but then I wasn't. It's okay.
Mm-hmm. Somebody's a little salty.
Oh, very salty. That's the whole reason I pushed it till like 5 o'clock.
Clint lives salty.
Was my buddy was going to be going through it with me. And then I find out me and Hunter were the only ones that paid.
No, I did not sleep in very late for one. For two, it was supposed to be a me and Clint thing. His wife didn't want to go and blah, 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 so I was going to be there for him. I really didn't even have time to go that weekend. And I was like, you know what, Clint, I'm going to go.
Oh, that is a lie.
This is definitely true.
You mentioned it on the intermission in the podcast. Oh, I might want to go to that, bro.
Yeah. I'm just
pretty good
trying to make my buddy feel good. Anyways, I decided that I was going to go because he had no ride, and his wife didn't want him to drive and possibly fall asleep because he was so tired, right?
At the wheel.
And so, at the wheel. And so I said, I'll drive. Well, then all of a sudden, because I'm going to be gone all day, right? My wife comes with us for the game night, and she's going to come with us to the tournament. We're all in, hanging out with Clint, keeping him awake. All of a sudden, Mikhail's going. That's Clint's wife. Yeah, she wants to go. She wants to be part of it. Like, you suck, Mikhail. Yeah, I like the fact that you want to go with your husband, and all that. But, I completely came over to do this.
You do realize she's pregnant. You're creating enemies right now.
Hey, nobody cares about if she's pregnant or not. You know, I understand she's being a good wife, you know, and she gets brownie points for that. But right now in the moment, I'm getting ridiculed for sleeping in, so I've got to turn it on somebody.
Oh, okay.
And that somebody is going to be Mikhail. So we just decided to go home and actually have a day off for once because, you know.
You went home and slept, didn't you? You went home, cuddled up in your bed.
I woke up at 8:30, so I didn't sleep in that much. Anyways.
An hour more than I did. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then I win that cake because I woke up at 6, so.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah, Hunter wins that cake, Clint.
That's fine. I'm okay with letting Hunter win that cake.
You know?
But Hunter knows I was out there roughing it in the world, you know?
But then I came
home. Watching wrestling, that's pretty rough.
I came home, I didn't sleep, and I went on like a 45-minute hike that evening. So, you know,
who does that? That's just asking for trouble.
I do that.
Well, that's your problem, bro.
Oh, it wasn't a problem. It was a blessing. Remember, I'm mentally aligned with this new body.
Oh, okay. I see.
Coach Ryan.
Well, hey, we are proud.
Life coach.
We are proud of Mr. Ryan because he did stay true to a somewhat healthy snack time during the stream. He ate some beef jerky, and I think that was about it.
Well, beef jerky's healthy. That fits my diet, really. So does the dinner we had. But where I cheated, the only place I cheated was on the queso dip. I did eat a little bit of tortilla with the queso.
And that's deer jerky brought to you by yours truly.
Yeah, that was not beef jerky, Clint.
It's not beef jerky.
Deer
jerky. You call it beef jerky again, I'm never going to let it grace your lips.
Hey, and just so you know, I did take some of it, and I thought, what happens if I make, you know how when you get some jerkies from the store, and they're kind of like a little bit moist, even though they've been made jerky? I've always wondered how they do that. So I took your jerky, which is like normal jerky, guys. You can't see the jerky while we're talking, but it's like normal, good, you know, dried jerky. And then I added a little bit of spicy barbecue sauce in the bag and then just let that kind of like soak in. Not much of it, like to make it all barbecue tasty, you know, just enough to make it a little sweeter and a little spicier. And it was okay, but it was a little weird. So it didn't come out like I expected it to.
You're like, I probably should just kept with the original?
Yeah, and the way I led that into that made it sound like it was going to be awesome, and it wasn't. Yeah. So
I got you.
It was a good try.
My buddy Aaron was over the other day, and he was taking my deer jerky, putting it on a tortilla chip with a pickled jalapeno and then sriracha, eating it.
Wow, that's different.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm kind of grossed out by that.
I didn't take any of it either.
Like, that's a little too out there for me.
I was like, why do you need the tortilla chip?
Oh, did you bring those jalapenos and I didn't even try one?
No, they're here.
No, he kept them at his house for himself.
I don't think you could handle them, Clinton, anyway, so.
No, I wouldn't, but...
Yeah.
Ryan, he eats all things hot, you know?
Yeah, I should have brought him, bro. I didn't even think about that.
It's all good.
Well, with that said, I say let's go ahead and move over to the next segment, boys.
Epic Dads, Epic Results.
All right, it is now time for Epic Dads, Epic Results. This is the segment where we talk about our kids and dad life. So it was an eventful weekend. There's nothing like corralling your children around while you're playing Resident Evil 2, and you have a toddler and a 5-year-old running around the house wild. For some reason, my daughter kept wanting to come by and see the zombies. And so last night, she actually called me an zombie.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so somehow she's identified the zombie.
She's not too far off.
Yeah. But they did pretty good with it. But it was just kind of, a little chaotic when they come through and Claire'd run up and want to see what's going on. I'm like, it's going to scare you. It's a pumpkin patch.
You kept saying that. It's a pumpkin patch. What does that mean?
That's what Claire says when something's scary.
They've instilled fear with the word pumpkin patch.
Yep. Wow. I don't know, I guess we took her last year to a pumpkin patch and something there scared her. And so now
I remember you telling me something there scared her. That's right.
Yeah.
I was there, wasn't I?
Yeah. So
I don't think we ever saw anything scary.
Yeah,
maybe it was the sirens.
It was a spider, you said.
Oh.
Was it the spider or was it the sirens? I don't remember.
I don't remember a spider, but there were sirens that went off and she started crying.
Sirens. Yeah.
She didn't know what they were. There was they were testing them, Ryan, and there was we were right by one of those electric posts that had a siren on it.
Yeah.
Really?
So it was loud.
And so now anytime the first time she did it, we saw a trailer for the Michael Myers movie Halloween, and it had him with the mask, and she got scared of that and was saying pumpkin patch. And so from then on out, since that pumpkin patch trip, anything that's scary, she labels it's a pumpkin patch. And so it all falls into that category of pumpkin patch.
Nice.
It's kind of interesting. She's categorized things like that. So had a good time taking her out to the wrestling matches. Like I said, she was wanting to go down on the mats and wanting to wrestle. And when we first got there, she was a little overwhelmed because it was a big arena, full of people. And I don't know if some of you guys probably never even been to a wrestling tournament, but wrestling tournaments can be a little bit rough if you're not used to the style of wrestling. So parents in wrestling are a little crazy. So you'll go into a wrestling tournament and you will see moms with their nails done, looking good, right? And they'll just be going nuts, just about to jump the rail with the dads. Just people get crazy. Sometimes there's fights that break out. Like
the best is when you're watching little kids and it's like a mom coaching like an 8-year-old kid. She's losing her mind, like that kid's getting a spanking when he gets home. I mean,
Yes.
It's serious. Like, what is she thinking out there? Just gets super intense.
Yeah.
That was totally 100% my dad in sports.
Yep.
Was it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so think of that times 1,000. For some reason, the wrestling fan base, I don't know, the parents just, I guess wrestling's one of them things of if you're into it, you're into it. It's not really a sport that you just do for fun. And I really don't know a lot of people that actually stick with the sport just for the heck of it,
Oh, yeah. I love when they jump off.
So it's like the ones that are in it are dedicated, baby. They're in it deep.
I love when people jump off the turnbuckle.
I gotcha. That's professional wrestling, and that's fake.
No, it's not.
And I'm a fan, so
I cannot believe you just told me that was fake.
Yeah, it's all
I don't believe
choreographed.
I don't believe you.
Games.
You're cutting out with your 1 gig internet. Sorry, what was that?
I said, you tell me they made a bunch of games about fake wrestling?
Yeah. If
thought it
you're
was
telling
real.
me, if you're telling me that wrestling, The Rock and all them are fake, then you got to also say that Santa Claus is fake and stuff like that.
No, we're not going into that. I'm not gonna ruin dreams tonight.
Oh, no, you're one of those dads that prefer to just lie to your kids, huh? You're one of those guys.
Oh,
It's all good.
Sweet.
I'm all about bringing joy in the moment.
Break their spirits as they age.
or fear.
I like it.
Or fear in the moment.
Hey, they need to.
Claire
They
is
need.
scared of Santa Claus.
Hey, they need to learn. The world doesn't tell the truth. So you gotta learn to think for yourself. You can't even trust your parents. You know what I'm saying?
You got to learn to think for yourself.
Right.
Do we want to talk about the big bad wolf for a second?
Yes, the big bad wolf he's in my arsenal right now. That's okay. I'm fine with it. We'll tell the people. When my daughter's acting up, I tell her I'm going to call it the big bad wolf. I got him on speed dial.
If she knew the whole story, she wouldn't be afraid because of the house you live in.
Yeah. So anyway, do you guys got any epic dads, epic result stories you want to tell?
I think I'm gonna go with Epic Dad's Epic Fail. Okay, I'm gonna go with this one, and this is basically the fact that I don't know if you guys how old your kids are, but Clint, you haven't gotten to where you're really doing many science projects or stuff like that with Claire yet, right?
Right.
And so you haven't experienced, let's do this cool thing, and then completely bomb at it. We're going to make a volcano, but it doesn't erupt. Dads go through those kind of things.
Yeah.
So anyways, the other day we decided we're going to do a project, and we're going to use hot glue to build something for her, what's called an American Girl doll. Other dads out there probably know what an American Girl doll is. They're these dolls that are out there that are basically, they're very realistic in the sense. They make them in all different kind of colors and styles, kind of, so you can get one that kind of matches your kid. That's kind of the whole point of it.
That's a little creepy.
Yeah. Anyways, they don't really match your kid, but they'll be dark complected or light complected.
They get all happy about it. Yeah.
Yeah. And, some kids don't want one that matches them. They want something different, obviously, but that's kind of what they came out with. But anyways, these dolls have tons of kits for them. And these are bigger dolls, not like Barbies. They're like full-size dolls, like the size of an actual little baby. But they have all these different setups, like a yoga set, which will come with yoga clothes, yoga mat, everything you need. And then you maybe have a little fishing set, and it's got everything you need for that. And they got all these real unique outfits and stuff like that. But she likes to make things for her American Girl doll so she can have customized items. So I'm like, sweet, let's use some hot glue. Let's build something out of some popsicle sticks, that we can use. I don't know what we're going to make, but she can make up whatever she wants. Fail one was we had no popsicle sticks. So that quickly became toothpicks. which obviously limits what it is exactly that we could do. So she's got this little cup, you know, like one of them little Dixie cups you had when you were a kid, and she wants to basically glue some toothpicks to the bottom of that, and then this Dixie cup is going to be like a popsicle. She says, I want to fill it with hot glue. I tell her, we can't fill it with hot glue. That's way too much hot glue to fill the entire thing. That's not what we're doing. You know what I mean? We're building stuff with hot glue, not doing that. So I'm like, okay, I got this brilliant idea. And I tell her what we're going to do is we're going to basically coat the cup with like layers of glue, and it's a wax covered cup. So then we'll just peel the cup off and we'll have like this little shape of the cup made of hot glue. She says, Daddy, I don't think that's going to work. I said, oh yeah, it's going to work. So I test it in a little spot. Boom, peels right off. We're good to go. So we're taking, this took a long time. Like it was way harder than I expected. You know, we're drizzling hot glue all over this thing. That paper was like melded into that. I mean, it must have been, it had to be super, I don't know if because there was so much and it got so hot that it melted the wax, but there was no removal of that paper at the end of that. So I ended up having to literally cut the cup and then like peel off what I could from the paper. Luckily, she's kind of a positive kid, so she's like, oh, Dad, it's cool because now the decorations of the cup look like they're just things inside the popsicle. I'm like, when? You know, let's do that. So then, but now it's not a cup anymore. It's literally just like an unfolded cup with no bottom or top. So it's like now it's a piece of paper. Does that make sense?
Not impressive at all. Yeah.
So I roll it back up to kind of get the shape of a popsicle and glue it back together. But now both the top and bottom have no top or bottom. So how do you even put the popsicle stick in it? You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm
That's
just
pretty
drizzling.
deflating.
Oh yeah. So I spent like 15 minutes just trying to drizzle enough glue in the ends to make it kind of fill on the ends, and then put the popsicle sticks in there. Well, she thought it was the best thing in the world, but I'm sitting here looking at it like, I see these guys on like YouTube and things like that, you know, that like make a little miniature, you know, let's make this, and they'll like make something like a banana that looks like a real banana when they're done, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this would be so embarrassing if anybody ever saw what I just made. It took me an hour to make this little thing.
This horrendous statue.
We made it together,
trash.
but yeah, it was horrible. But the moral of the story is, kids don't care.
Yeah.
To her, it was awesome.
She made memories
We had a
of Dad.
blast making it. Oh yeah, and it just fits in her hand perfect, and it's awesome, and that's all that mattered.
And one day
we're
she'll tell you
inventors
about
now.
that awesome thing you made, and you'll be like, wow. I don't even remember it because it was so bad.
Yep.
Delete it
So
out of your
even
memory.
though it was an epic fail in my head, it was an epic result for her. So
There you go.
and that happens all the time when you're doing dad stuff. It's like, you know, you can turn stuff around real quick. Even something that someone, like a kid, is like, oh no, Dad, that sucks. And you're like, oh no, that's because you think it's this, but it's supposed to be this. And you just make up something else. And you're like, oh, cool. Yeah. You're looking at your wife like, don't you dare tell her it's not that. You know? And then you just move on with life. That's the way it
I
goes.
like it.
Yeah.
That's a good way of looking at things. But the way we grew up, Ryan, you know, our dads, you know, we would have just been all over them about it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
No, my dad would have ridiculed me for the craft.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That does not look like a popsicle.
You call that a popsicle, boy?
Yeah.
It's trash. Being pulled.
Wow.
I should put a little post of the popsicle on my profile.
Yes,
With
you
like
should.
the way it actually looks when it was
You
done.
should. And while you're at it, share the podcast.
I did.
Hunter, is Rhett kicking yet?
Actually, I was going to say, me and Rhett did some arts and crafts this week.
Oh, really?
I was joking. No, we did not.
know
Rhett
you
is
could-
kicking. No, you're right. It's kind of hard to do, right?
Stay away
Well,
from
you could take like some finger paints, you know, and paint the belly. Hey, Rhett, you know, something weird like that.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, it goes with the sunglasses.
Yeah, exactly. I could do some like interpretive dancing with him too. But no, so yeah, Rhett is actually kicking. It's not like something Natalie can feel as a kick yet. It's almost like little flutters.
Yeah.
So it kind of seems like her, you know, butterflies in her tummy or something when he moves around.
Gotcha.
But tomorrow we actually have an appointment, and we're gonna have an imaging ultrasound, which we haven't had yet. We had one in the very beginning when we first found out we're pregnant, and then we've had just the sound ultrasounds. And then now, tomorrow, we're going to be able to see Rhett. So
So this
we're
is your
excited
first
about that.
imaging. Are you going to do the,
Yeah.
is it the, what do they call that, 4D?
Yeah.
Or whatever they call it?
Yep.
That's fun.
Used to you had to pay extra for that. I think that's kind of become more standard now.
Yep. So we're excited to see our baby's face for the first time.
Cool.
Nice.
Exciting.
Yep, we're super pumped.
We'll share that on the old Facebook if you want.
And
I don't
literally,
know
it'll
how
be a
private you
Facebook.
Huh?
It'll literally be a Facebook thing.
Yeah, it literally will be. Well, I think that about wraps that up. I guess we'll head right on over to the news. Leaks for Geeks. Alright, this is a new segment of the night, and me and Hunter will be presenting some of the information for you, what we got and what we found important this week on the web. Hunter, would you want to mind going first?
No, I don't mind. Well, I'm going to leave my more exciting one for last, but
Okay.
my first article I found was about how Marvel Spider-Man for PS4 is almost half off its original price right now.
Dang.
Nice.
So Marvel Spider-Man launched as a PS4 exclusive last September for $60, but if you've been waiting for that price to drop, today might be your best chance to snag this game. Earlier this month, Insomniac Games announced Spider-Man has had a permanent price drop from $60 to $40, and you can snag the game for even cheaper right now at Newegg, where the standard edition is being sold for $35 with free shipping through Thursday.
I'm down for that.
So check it out. Grab it. It's a great game.
Does it ever make you a little bit depressed? Like it does for me a little bit when I pay a full $60 for a game I'm super excited about, and then I turn around and I see that sucker drop down to about the $40 or $30 range, and I'm like, I'm a sucker. If I just had some self-control and just wait.
Yep.
I don't buy very many games brand new. Red Dead is one that I bought right when it came out.
I thought you bought Spider-Man when it came out.
And Spider-Man. But for me,
Madden 19.
No, Madden I waited for a while. Remember, I got a deal on Madden. I got it for $40.
Oh, that's right. What about Call of Duty 4?
Call of Duty 4 was a Christmas present.
Oh, okay.
Black Ops 4.
Yeah.
Dang, Clint's trying to pin you down.
I'm just keeping you honest. Well, I just know he's had all these new games, so I'm like, how's he getting these new games?
But
what's his strategies?
Here's my deal. Red Dead, nostalgic. Spider-Man, nostalgic. So, that's how you really play on my heartstrings. That's why I went for those guys right away, is because I knew how much I enjoyed Red Dead Redemption 1, and then I loved Spider-Man on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
I think Spider-Man 3 was like the best one.
Well, hey, just so you know, on the Rockstar thing, or Red Dead Redemption, I didn't pull up the article for the news today, but I'm just going to throw it out there. I think Rockstar announced that they are coming out with an update for Red Dead. We're going to have some content in it. So
You mean online?
Yeah, people are ready for it. I hear people are getting bored out there in the Old West. That's why I just said it down.
Already, huh?
Huh?
With Red Dead, they're already bored already, huh?
Yeah, just because there wasn't a lot of content when they launched it.
There wasn't a whole lot to do online except kill other players. I mean,
yeah.
Okay.
So we'll see what they present. That's why I just set it down for now. And I'm like, I'll play it once they get some more stuff in it. I didn't want to get burned out on it.
Right. Well, yeah. So go check out Spider-Man if you got the money. 37. Or what is it said? It said 35 with free shipping. So go check that out on Newegg. Get you a copy. It's a good game. I really enjoyed it. It brought back some good memories of my favorite Spider-Man on PlayStation. The way the web slinging mechanics work. Graphics are beautiful. Feels very Marvel Universe. So
very smooth.
Very nice. Go check it out.
I like it. Well, some news that I'm bringing to you. Another game-related thing. Kind of ties into what we played this weekend. Old Resident Evil 2. This is actually related to some of the other games that they got going on, but Resident Evil officially announced on Twitter today about 10 a.m. that Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil 1, and Resident Evil 4 are coming to Nintendo Switch. It's going to come to their eShop on May 21st, so you can play all three games, whether you're on a train, during mansion tours, or across the European countryside. You can pre-order starting on February 28th, so in 3 days. You guys can pre-order that and get you in some Resident Evil no matter where you're at, so that's pretty cool.
Nice.
I'm slowly getting one over on this Twitch thing. Not Twitch, I mean Switch.
Switched.
Yeah, Twitch, whatever. Yeah, the Switch, they're getting some pretty cool games, offered on there, so... and then we'll move on.
Switch at all, Hunter? Or
I have.
But you haven't, right, Clint?
I played it once over at my brother-in-law's.
Okay.
His roommate had it. I just played it for maybe 20 minutes or so. It was really cool.
I
think
check it out at all.
The coolest thing about that, obviously, is in the title, which is that you can take it handheld and then plug it right into your TV.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I like about it most. Other than that, the only reason I'd buy one is to get my hands on Zelda and Smash Bros.
Yeah.
Other than that, like, I'm not... I like Mario Party and stuff like that for the family, but...
What about Mario Kart?
I like Mario Kart.
Yeah.
I like the Mario games that are multiplayer for family. But other than that,
you can play Skyrim on the go.
Yeah.
That kind of wins me over a little bit.
That's a pretty big one.
Yeah. I remember sitting next to this guy on an airplane when we were on our way up to see Natalie's family, and it was like a 3-hour flight, and he was just playing Zelda the whole time. Graphics were amazing. I was like...
You're like, hey, bro, can I play that?
Yeah. I was like, if I had this during a flight, all my flights would go so fast.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, that'd be really cool. I bet the Switch sells really good in, like, New York and places like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like the real crowded cities where you're going to be commuting a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Here where we live, we don't really have to deal with that, but places where you're going to be on a bus or a train.
Well, yeah, you shouldn't be playing Switch while you're driving.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah. But I get why that would pick up, you got trains or subways. Or
well, I was just thinking, like, why would I buy it? Because I'm always usually driving, right?
Right.
So it's like, but if I lived in a big city, I could definitely see the appeal.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've actually never even thought about that.
Yeah, like if I'm going to spend 3 hours commuting on top of my work schedule, having a Switch would be kind of a lifesaver, really. Just having some fun and relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really cool. And then going back to some bad news. Actually, the next two news things that I got's kind of not the greatest, I guess you'd say, but Activision-Blizzard laid off earlier, I believe it was the end of last week, mid-last week. Activision-Blizzard laid off 775 employees. So that was 8% of its. Yeah, it's 8% of its 9,600 person staff.
Whoa,
they are
crazy.
Yeah. So they are refocusing their efforts on Call of Duty, Candy Crush, Overwatch, Warcraft, Hearthstone, and Diablo franchises.
Wait a minute, Activision-Blizzard does Candy Crush?
Yeah, they bought over. Yeah, they bought out. I think it was King.
I
The
don't
company was
understand
King.
why is Candy Crush so big? I don't really get that one. It's like some old, pop the bubble game or something.
I don't know. My mother-in-law was like way into it.
Yeah, people just love
Like
it.
into it deep for a while, like real deep. Like addicted to it. I don't think she plays it anymore.
That old game, remember that? What was it called? People were spending like tons of money on it. A little Chinese guy, I think, made it. Something about a bird. Little bird with like Flappy Bird.
Flappy Bird, yeah.
Oh
that was
my
like the
gosh.
first big one on mobile, wasn't it?
That was a craze. People just lost their minds over it, trying to get the high score, and then he just shut it down, and people just started selling copies of it. That's weird. That's almost like Elmo back in the day.
Yeah. Did you ever play Candy Crush?
I've checked it out.
Yeah.
It just didn't have any appeal to me, really.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty fun, but I just got kind of tired of all the advertising of buy this or buy these to get the extra lives. I'm like, no.
Yeah, that kind of stuff bugs me like crazy.
Yeah.
You know what kind of bugs me is you were just talking about how Activision laid off a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
Activision, I saw this article today actually when I was scrolling through some other stuff. Activision and EA both appear on most overpaid CEO lists.
Oh, yeah, I did see that in glance.
So both
I wasn't going to give them a big black eye, but we'll go ahead and do it right now.
Yeah, both major publishers appeared on the list, intending to promote corporate responsibility, with CEOs making roughly 300 times their median workers. 300 times, and you're laying people off.
Yeah.
That's a little rough.
Yep, it is a little rough.
Well, you'd have to check and see if they took any pay cuts, too.
Yeah, you don't know the whole story. You never do, so you can't judge off of that, but that's just crazy to think. They made it on that list, and they're also laying off people.
Yeah. Well, this helps lend that whole thing that's going around about Activision being the bad guy, and they're ruining Blizzard, and they're just sucking the life out of all these things. I don't know. It's getting a little weird, but the CEO, Bobby Kotick, I think that's how you say his name, said that the cuts would come from the support staff while the company consolidates its commercial operations and recognizes its marketing initiatives. Activision will be instead investing more in live services, Battle.net, esports, and advertising efforts. But then I also saw in a recent article that they also were saying that as of right now, Blizzard doesn't really have anything lined up for this year, any big titles. I know they are going to release Warcraft 3, and that's going to be the Warcraft 3 Reforged Edition. But that's still, just an updated game. Nothing, I don't think it's going to change I don't think it's going to be like a Resident Evil 2 reboot, you know what I mean? I think it's just going to be like an update and better audio, but not really change too much from the original source material. So yeah, Activision, Blizzard's in a weird spot, and Activision seems to be kind of giving themselves a reputation. I don't know. Seems kind of odd. Hopefully they pull out of it. Like I said, I'm a big Blizzard fan, so obviously I don't want to see. And really, Activision, I played good games. Call of Duty, of course. Used to play Call of Duty a lot back in the day. So it's not really like I want to see them go down.
No.
But it does bug me to see the big corporate part taking control, the money part, which that's life. That's business.
Right.
Business will always rise to the top over creativity.
I think gaming is one of those things that a lot of companies get started not all about the money because they really want to see this kind of game come to life, this specific category or this specific thing. But, just like anything else, money makes the world go round. So people do get caught up in profits and, shares and all that kind of stuff. And then I think sometimes we do see games kind of, not just the companies, but games kind of go downhill or become a little more gimmicky or, they'll pump out a game that looks a lot like the last game. Right? Stuff like that happens just to...
All of a sudden they just tweak it just a tiny bit.
Yep. And it seems like, back in the day, because gaming wasn't so much profit in it, right? Like even back when we played PlayStation back in the day, how often did you see a game just barely tweaked?
Barely.
It was always completely new stuff going on in the next version, And the campaign would be interesting, just like the first one and stuff like that. We didn't have multiplayer back then, but they dumped into that kind of stuff. Like, could you imagine each Resident Evil being almost exactly the same?
Yeah.
It wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But they didn't do that back then, I think, because there probably just wasn't quite as much money to grab by doing it. It was kind of like it was a little bit more about the gaming.
Wasn't as much to milk out of it. But then we're in this weird thing with the internet being so fast. When did you see a game come out that was not completed? Now you get $60 games left and right that aren't completed, and they come in with patches later.
Yeah, that's true. It's weird. It's a weird era.
And back in the day, it's like what you got was what you got. So if it wasn't completed, your game bombed big time.
Right.
There was no patch that was going to come out and fix it.
Right. Well, you just wouldn't even. A lot of times, you just wouldn't put it out. Right. I mean, the game failed. You didn't make it to market.
Yeah.
So it is different. I mean, it is helping some games get to market that never would have. So I kind of understand the purpose of it, but it is definitely a different.
Some of these little
dynamic
independents that we play, like DayZ and.
Right.
Yeah. They get a
things like
Kickstarter going. So it's like, you like what you see so far, help support it so we can build it further,
Yeah. Like Dead by Daylight, it does good now, money-wise, but it was one of those early starters, wasn't it, Hunter?
I think so, yes.
I think it was kind of an early release, and Friday the 13th, those kinds of games. We'll see kind of what happens with gaming, but it's definitely a different kind of landscape right now. Everybody's going to this live service and, kind of free-to-play battle royale type games, and it's very different than the traditional, hey, here's the $60 game, buy it and play it through and enjoy it. It's definitely kind of changed quite a bit. So I don't know, for gamer dads though, I think it's kind of a good thing because I can buy a $15 game and have some fun with it. But I do, when we played Resident Evil 2, I did kind of get that vibe of, man, it's good to play a finished product that feels polished, that feels, like they have vision, they completed their task, like, and you know what I mean? Like it definitely felt different than what we've kind of been playing on some of these games.
Definitely.
That was kind of a good thing. But Hunter, I'll let you take on the next one, if you'd like.
Yeah, sure. The next on my list is a new game coming out. And we were just talking about this, but its early access releases March 12th for PC, and then with PS4 and Xbox, it's just going to come out when the full version launches. But it's a new open-world Western game, and it's offering a big change in pace from, like, Red Dead Online. So it is an online game, and it's called Outlaw.
Online campaign? Sorry.
It's kind of like, it's just an online, you play with other players.
Like MMO style?
Yeah. I don't really see anything in this article yet. I'm going to read from it, so maybe it'll say a little bit further down here, but I just know that there's interactions with other players, and it kind of looks like there's even a survival aspect to it also. So, it's called Outlaws. It says, even after massive hits like Rockstar Games' Red Dead Redemption series, the setting of the Old West isn't something you see used in games that often. but with the upcoming Outlaws of the Old West coming from developer Virtual Basement, this online open world survivalist take on the timeless concepts of the Western aims to give the setting a different spin. Throughout our journey in the open world, you'll be able to explore the vast plains and snowy mountains in order to survive the lawless lands of the Old West. And I watched a little video on it. This article comes to you from GameSpot.com, so if you could just go on GameSpot.com and check it out yourself. There's a little video that kind of shows a tiny bit of gameplay, but it's even got like harvesting and building aspects to it. So it looks pretty cool. It looks like something that you'd put a lot of time into if you're gonna get involved.
It's gonna kind of have a DayZ kind of survival.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting. Those are getting a little more popular right now.
Crafting and stuff.
That makes sense.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Sometimes on those games, they kind of got to be careful to not go too far that way, because there's been some games come out. People really like that, but it's also one of those things that's got to be in balance, because seems like you've got some people that really love it, but it's a smaller group of people. So if you want to be a profitable game, you got to add just enough in to still keep the guys who aren't really into the in-depth survival mode.
Yeah.
I think if you could find a good balance there, that would be good. So it's like the older DayZ before it updated. It was too much. Like it was just like overboard on the survival. But then they updated it, and sometimes during the update, it got to the point where it was like survival meant nothing. Like it was too easy to survive. And it was really only a shooter again. And so I know people are kind of struggling with that balance, but I know when it is in those times where it's balanced, it's a whole different kind of game, and I have a lot of fun with that stuff.
Yeah. Well, an old Western survival sounds like a lot of fun. I'd be totally into that.
It does sound pretty cool,
Yeah, I was thinking about that when Red Dead 2 came out. I'm like, I feel like Rockstar's the only one to really utilize that so far.
Yeah.
Like the Old West setting.
And the thing about Rockstar is they've got the money and the power. They could totally come out with a survival type aspect to the online if they wanted to, or a mode that you could like opt into. Like maybe a hardcore mode or something where it's like, okay, now you really got to survive, and so yeah, I'm surprised they didn't try to do like a battle royale type deal. I guess they kind of have a game mode though that you play where it's like 30 people or whatever.
Yeah.
My issue with the Rockstar stuff that I've always had, and even with Red Dead 2, is they just don't have big lobbies. They don't have big servers. So it just, to me, it always feels like kind of a mini game kind of mode. So even now with the Red Dead 2 servers, how many people does it have? 20, something like that? I think.
I'm not sure.
Count it. It doesn't have a lot. So that's, I guess, what bugs me. Like, DayZ can have a server of 60. World of Warcraft can have, obviously a huge server of, you just have people everywhere.
We've been playing DayZ on a server with 117 lately.
Yeah. So I'm saying, like, if they can do it, it just bugs me that Rockstar just does these littler lobbies, and they're just like, here you go. And I guess maybe it's because their game's chaos, so maybe they have too many.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
Constant death.
Can you imagine even DayZ being like that aggressive?
Yeah.
Like everybody you came across just instantly shot you in the head. Like.
Well, it's getting kind of like that.
Yeah. Sometimes it is. It's weird.
We tried playing the other night, and it kind of turned out that way. But
I just can't imagine a Rockstar map with 100 people on it.
Well, it wouldn't even have to be 100. It bugs me a little bit with the amount that they have. But I guess you're probably right. It'd probably get a little too wild. A little too out of hand with their game
what's the
style.
size of the map in comparison to something like DayZ?
I would say, what would you say, Hunter? Probably half the size of the map of DayZ?
Yeah. Maybe a little bigger.
Yeah.
Still a pretty big map then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that could work.
I mean, they made a pretty good sized one, but...
You're probably right, Clint. I'd say about half.
Yeah. Because it takes a little while to truck across there on a horse.
Yeah, it's different. It's just different in the way that it's mapped anyway, so...
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you guys, since we're talking about Rockstar and Red Dead real quick, did you guys ever play Red Dead Revolver?
Yes.
No, I never did.
So Red Dead Revolver was like actually their first Western game. And when Red Dead Redemption came out, I played it, and I didn't even know Rockstar had made Red Dead Revolver. And I was like, this is so similar in the way they do like gun draw. And Red Dead Revolver was the first Western game that I can remember. I don't know if it was the first Western game, obviously, but I do remember it being the first game I played where it had the slow motion quick draw, and you just felt like the craziest outlaw ever because you slow down time and just shoot all these things. And then when Red Dead Redemption 1 came out, it had the same concept, and I was like, that's so weird. It's just like Red Dead Revolver.
It's like they stole it.
I put 2 and 2 together, and then I found out that it was all Rockstar. So,
yeah, kind of crazy.
So actually they have 3 Western games.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
So how long before did that come out?
Then a year and a half of each other, weren't they? It wasn't very long.
Really? No way. Red Dead Revolver and Red Dead Redemption?
Oh, I think I'm thinking of Gun.
Yeah, Gun's. Is Gun made by?
Then, Gun isn't made by them, but it's very similar to the old 360 game. That's probably what I'm thinking of. While you're looking at that, Hunter, I'm going to move on to the next piece of news, if you're cool. So I saw that Razer Games had a store, like Razer the mouse, the mouse and keyboard makers, for PC. They had a store, and so I'm just going to let everybody know that it is now closing. It's only been out 10 months, and they're closing up shop.
When you say they have a store, they have a real store?
Well, an online store. Yeah, they had an online store, yeah.
And they're closing their store?
So the Razer Games store went live back in April of 2018, and they were selling a mix of Steam and Uplay keys, so game codes, basically. And so the idea was they did it for an incentive to buy from the offered hardware discounts. So they give you discounts for buying with them.
Oh, I see. It was more like a hosting store.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah,
and
not really selling their own products. They were linking you to these other products for discounts for theirs. That's different. Okay.
Yep. And so the article went on to say competition in the PC digital game space has increased dramatically over the past year, with Discord, Congregate, and Epic Games all launching their own marketplaces to combat Steam's dominance over the market. They weren't able to hang on very long, which kind of makes sense.
Would you say Steam's still dominant over the market?
Yeah.
I would too. Yeah. I'm new to PC gaming, but seems like in everything that I do so far, not only does Steam have more to offer, free-to-play games, things like that, they tend to just, it's easier to use.
Yeah, it's all there in one spot.
It's just user-friendly, yeah.
Well, they were the first ones to do it, and they have pretty good UI system, and, it's all just kind of, you're used to it. Yeah, I don't, other than using, like, Blizzard's Battle.net or, EA has Origin, which I don't like Origin at all.
It's horrible.
Never have. Anyway, other than that, I don't, I think you guys are right. I think Steam's probably going to stay on top unless, someone just comes out and makes great offers to the publishers and has a, an amazing UI. Maybe something like a Discord or something like that has like a chat feature integrated in it or something, that's all like your one-stop shop for everything games.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else, Hunter? You needed to,
I know that's all on my articles, but I have an answer here for you.
Oh, okay.
So,
go ahead.
Red Dead Revolver came out May 4th, 2004.
Oh, okay. That's
and
wild.
then Red Dead Redemption came out May 21st, 2010.
Okay.
That's a pretty big gap.
6 years apart. Yeah.
Well, Red Dead Redemption and Red Dead Redemption 2 are a pretty big gap, too.
Yep, let me see.
I guess I never even realized how big of a gap that was, how long it's been since Red Dead Redemption came out.
Well, that's the same thing for the new Grand Theft Auto games. If you think about when the Grand Theft Auto 4 Liberty City, they did that one, and that's back when we were all gaming on the 360, and then at the very end of the life cycle of 360, they released GTA 5.
Red Dead Revolver was 6 years till Red Dead Redemption 1, and then Red Dead Redemption 2 is actually longer than that, 8 years, 2018.
Like whole lifetimes, man.
Yeah, there's a bigger distance in Red Dead Redemption and Red Dead Redemption 2 than there is Red Dead Revolver and Red Dead Redemption.
It's crazy to think my daughter may be graduating by the time I get to play, like, the next iteration of a Red Dead game.
That is weird.
Hey, but that's the same thing with World of Warcraft. Like, that game came out in 2004. I started playing it in 2009. And it's still chugging along pretty strong, and it's 2019. So literally, like, if you had kids during that, Like your kids grew up the same age as that game. Like it's 20 years? Not quite, but we're getting there. We'll say the game's 15. We'll say 15 years. Still, that's like, could you imagine having a kid that's just born during the release of a game, and then you can still play it live now? It's still being updated and
That's crazy.
popular. It's weird. It's a crazy world we live in.
It's a world of Warcraft.
It's a world of Warcraft.
Well, we don't have any clue what stuff's going to look like, 20 years from now.
Right.
Yeah.
You look back 20 years past in our lifetime, 20 years back when we were 10.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was like the beginning of cell phones. Now
Well,
we all have
hold
supercomputers
up.
in our pockets.
Yeah. Now you can stream
I
from
was-
You're
anywhere.
5.
I
You're
was 5.
Okay. You're a
Yeah.
youngster, I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little mind-boggling in a way.
That's weird. Yeah,
And
I
the
was
thing is,
15
the
before I got
graphics
my
can
first
only
cell
get so good, right? The graphics can only get so good. So then what happens? You get more depth. You get more
phone. Yeah. Hopefully.
intuitive.
Yes. Hopefully we just get more variety to the games and we get to start experiencing games that are different than anything we've ever experienced. I mean, I think as that moves forward, so will the processing ability and things like that of the VR.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
In my opinion,
That's-
that's the evolution of gaming.
That's what I think too. I think you only get so good on console and PC, and then you got to go for the virtual
Cool.
reality.
And we're just living in a Ready Player One world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How
Get to
cool
the
would that
suits
be?
and go. Oh, hey, your health would be better
because
because you're moving.
as fat as me and no big deal. Oh, because
Well,
they're on the
you-
little treadmill deal.
Right,
Yeah.
you'd be burning. You'd be
No,
burning the weight.
in real life, that's not what they're going to do. In real life, they're going to figure out how to tap something into your neurological system so you can tell it that you're running and still lay there like a fat vegetable.
Have
Hey.
you seen Black Mirrors?
I would probably.
Yes, I have.
would
I don't want
probably-
anything tapping into my neurological core.
I don't know though. If it's gaming fun, I might do it. I'd be
You're
tempted.
crazy.
I am crazy.
Hey, if you really think you might do it, there's things out there called like Wii Fit and Connect, Dance Dance Revolution or whatever. I don't know. All kinds of these different exercise things that are gaming. And have you lost any weight since those came out?
No.
No.
Oh, okay. So there's the answer.
But I'm saying, like, if I could put on a full suit and we're playing some Call of Duty,
That's
and I've
true.
got a big room that's set up for just these games, right? And we're just going at it. I'm probably gonna shred the weight because it's worth it.
Clinton's
It's-
going to be on the mic like,
I did see a company a while back that had like that 360 deal is real. The deal they use on Ready Player One. That's from a real company who's designed that and is working on it, and they use that in the movie. That 360 treadmill.
Yeah.
Have you looked that up before, Clint?
No, but I
No?
think I heard you tell me about it. Didn't you say
Yeah, that's pretty
there were
cool.
some things they couldn't fix about it yet?
Yeah,
Like
it's
some of
definitely
the-
not smooth like the movie. Right.
Right.
But there is another company that's worked on. Basically, it's like if I remember right, it's almost like and it makes more sense to me. But it's what do you call it? I'm a loss for words. A hamster ball. It's
yeah.
like a hamster ball that you're in, and you run, and it spins on these bearings and picks up everything you're doing, which would take some getting used to because you're kind of stepping up as you're running. You know what I mean? But I had seen some stuff on that. I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago, and it was something that was actually out and for sale. I think it was like $15,000. You had to have like a room set up for it and stuff. It was a little crazy. Yeah.
I've seen those VR demos back when VR was still becoming a thing, and they'd have the guy in a full suit, and he'd have like a little circle thing around him, and he'd have like a belt that was hooked to him and all this stuff. And so every movement he made, he could turn 360. Playing like Skyrim and stuff. And be amazing.
I got you.
So if we ever get to that, but that goes back to the thing. My issue with the VR that I've had lately is none of my friends have VR.
Yeah. It's
So literally, I get into VR to play by myself, and that's fun for a little bit. But eventually, I'm like, man, I want to get on here with my buddy Ryan. I want to get on here with Hunter. I
yeah.
want to go, I want to go do some cool things together in VR. Well, no one can
Yeah, but
afford it
do
right
they-
now. It's still kind of
But
higher price.
Do they have very many multiplayer VR games?
Yeah, Borderlands 2 is multiplayer.
And it's
Yeah.
VR.
Pretty sure it's multiplayer. Actually,
You're right.
I'll
That's
check
a
it.
lot of games.
No.
Wait, hey,
No.
I do like Borderlands though, so
They got Eve Online. That's the one I was telling you guys, the Eve Valkyrie one, where you're in the spaceships fighting each other.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah,
that
yeah.
one. Yeah.
That's multiplayer.
Yeah, they got. I
I
haven't
didn't know
looked
you
at
were
a
in
lot
the
of them.
spaceships fighting each other. I thought when you described that to me, that was like I'm sending this crew and I'm sending this crew.
No,
kind of a
you're
thing.
you're the pilot.
I really
Oh, that's
that'd
why I
be
was
sick.
telling you that doesn't sound very good. If I have
Oh
to just
no! This
Yeah.
launches you out, and you're just freaking you're in it, just zero gravity. And I immediately felt sick when I got out there because it messes with your brain.
Oh,
You're
so
looking
this
out
isn't
into
the game.
space.
This isn't the Steam game you were asking me to download the other week. That was a ship.
Oh,
kind of a
that's the MMO Eve.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay,
this
okay,
game,
okay.
so this VR game is based off that.
Okay.
But
I'd
now
like to
you're the
check out
ship
this-
going out fighting.
I'd like to check out this ship game.
You need to come
'Cause I
over and play it.
When I first tried VR, it was just one of them Samsung Gears, right, that you snap your phone into. And one of the games that they had on there was a ship game where you're shooting. And just on that, it was epic. It was super fun. It was 3D. You felt like you were in the cockpit.
Yeah, this is like that. You set up so like when you're in the loading bay, you can look around. You see all the other people in the group. So it's like usually like 8 people, 6 people, something like that. The lobby, and you're looking around. You can see all the pilots, and everybody's kind of like looking at each other, like with your little, you know what I mean? And then
What do you mean? Like real people are in there with you?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I like
Yeah,
that.
everybody's just kind of sitting up on their little docking station, right? And they're all just kind of sitting there waiting to get in their ships. And so, like, you're just, like, looking at all these people, and you see their little names above their head, you know? And it's like, but it's all 3D, and it's all VR, so you're just kind of, like, checking them out, like, oh, there's Hunter, oh, there's that, you know? And then when the game starts, they put you in the cockpit, and you're just looking. And the weird thing is the ship's, like, life-size. So you look over, and this gun's bigger than your head. And so it shocks you. What'd you ask?
I said, is it cross-platform or no? I mean, I know there's a couple games that are going that direction.
No, this would just be PSVR for now. PlayStation
So you
VR.
couldn't play it on, like, Oculus or something like that?
I think the game is out for Oculus, but
That's
I don't
separate.
think they're cross-platforming right now
Gotcha.
at this moment. But the craziest thing about that was actually the game that won me over to get VR. Because when I was in it, I couldn't believe I was in this ship that felt real,
Gotcha.
right? Because even the glass in front of you is kind of stained and cracked a little bit, or, you know, it's kind of like got debris on it.
Right.
And so in the 3D space, you're just like, whoa, you know? And then when
Pretty
they
high graphics, too?
Yeah, and then they shoot you out. They launch you right out of the ship, the big ship, and then that's what gets you. Once you get out of the ship, then it's just nothing but space, and you're just floating.
That'd be so sick.
Yeah, and then like you can do like the 360s and the zero gravity. So then it just totally.
But I still want to try it.
I thought you were out there in a ship fighting. You're saying you're out there as a person.
Well, no, you're
Like an astronaut.
you're in a little ship,
Oh, okay.
like a tinier
Gotcha.
ship. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're getting shot out of a big, huge ship. Like fighter pilot.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But it's pretty intense. All right, so next on the list that I've got, this is my last one, is World War Z. It's going to be a game that's coming out on PlayStation, Xbox One, and PC. So this game is it's a 4-player co-op game. It's inspired by the World War Z movie franchise. I don't know if you've seen World War Z.
Oh yeah, Brad Pitt.
Yep. So this game is going to be inspired by that. It's like I said, it's due to release April 16th, 2019. Up to this point, you know, it's a 4-player co-op. But they just released a trailer announcing they're going to have it's going to be player versus zombies. So
I saw this trailer. It looks sweet.
yeah, I'm
Sweet.
pretty pumped about that. I looked at the trailer too. It looked pretty impressive. So if the game plays anything like what the trailer was showing, well, I think we're in for a treat. Because to me, player versus zombies is worth it. Is that something I felt like H1Z1 was missing? And even a game like like Fortnite, they had zombies in the single player campaign, so it would have been cool to have zombies in the battle royale. Like, to me,
think
that
they-
would make that epic. Like, not only do you guys survive from the human coming after you.
This last season, I think they actually did have some in the Battle Royale, but it wasn't.
Oh, did they?
It's just not the same like you're thinking. Like zombie apocalypse, they're all running after you. It's more like, I think in Fortnite you'd throw a bomb and it would cause a zombie to pop up or something.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't like you're trying to avoid them or fighting them off while someone else is
Right.
coming after you.
It's going to be a lot cooler when there's like a whole horde of zombies. So you have to work together to get around or whatever.
Yeah, well, that's pretty cool. But yeah, so that's pretty much going to do it for the news section on this. We'll go ahead and move on to our next segment.
Order! Order in the court! What's your plea?
I'm sorry. I can't agree.
This is the final verdict.
All right, guys. This is the final verdict, and this is where we do a game review. This one's going to be on Resident Evil. But before I jump into Resident Evil 2, the remake, of course, I want to make sure you guys understand what happens there in that little transition. That is Clint's daughter saying that she's guilty. She's sorry, she's guilty, which is freaking hilarious. I love it. But just in case you guys don't speak Claire, I figured I'd let you know, so in the future, you'll hear it when she says it, and you'll be like, oh yeah, I hear it now.
I've got her blackmailed for life now.
Anyways, I'm gonna start off by saying we don't even have to play all of Resident Evil 2 to give it a final verdict.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I loved it.
You know, we're gonna get into what I loved about it, but it was good enough to give it a final verdict right now. I don't see it going downhill. As the game progressed, it was interesting because there were some other things we'll get into that made it not just a repeat, you know? And I'm sure that's going to continue to happen a little bit. But in my opinion, starting off the game, blown away by the graphics. I was playing, and it's not like it's just so much better than any other game we've ever played, probably graphics-wise, but it's up there, wouldn't you guys say?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's near the top for graphics. And
Oh yeah, and there were some spots that we noticed while we were playing that were some little subtle textures that were kind of blurry. But then I realized that's because my gaming computer can't run it at the very, very max. So
Right.
it was adjusting some things. So I mean the game, you know, on a super duper high end gaming PC would probably be mind
or
blown.
maybe,
Like the graphics
maybe even
were-
a PS4 Pro. We don't know how different it looks. The point is, what happened to us, we were going to play on the Pro, but we wanted to stream, and so for some reason, PS4's streaming with Twitch was down. Not just on one PlayStation. It was I guess either a Twitch problem or a PS4 problem.
Yeah,
but it
we tried
wasn't,
multiple PS4s.
multiple PS4s, and we couldn't get it, so we decided to go ahead and go with the PC version, which Clint's computer is plenty powerful. But it's
Yeah,
not,
I mean it looked really good.
Oh yeah, it looked great.
It was just some of the small textures. Like I think it downgraded some resolution of some of the things in the vehicle, right?
Yeah,
some of the little
definitely.
tiny details just to run everything else amazing. But yeah, the game looked immaculate. I shouldn't downplay it like it was bad. You know, it was really
and
good.
For me, I was like, you know how you play a game back in the day, right? You know, you guys got to remember, I'm kind of back to gaming again. Like I didn't game for 5 years. And I'm back to gaming now, so my mind is even more blown about the level of graphics we get now. And so I'm watching the game in the beginning. We got an awesome cinematic. It's a great entrance to the game. And then all of a sudden, I'm thinking, oh, you know what? What if it's one of those games where the cinematics just look awesome and the game looks like a polished turd? But then I just forget we're past that kind of, you know, unless it's just a cheap game. It doesn't really happen anymore. And the game started, I didn't know the cinematic ended.
Yeah.
It was a very smooth transition from the cinematic scene straight into you're standing there and the game is playing. And I thought that just that in the beginning for me was really impressive. And I was like, okay, it's on, you know?
Yeah.
And then I started talking to, and those of you who've played it, you know what I'm talking about. I don't know how many of the details of the game. We don't want to give away much, right? As for the details of the game for those who haven't played it. But I do want to tell you, in the beginning, you end up playing in this gas station. And I mentioned to Clinton Hunter, and I say, I don't remember this part in the game. And they remind me, oh yeah, because we didn't get to play that part. That was just a cinematic in the original. And I was like, oh man. So that was already kind of like right in the beginning. They let you know we're going to give you some extra content. So
And then what I really liked, which we found out later in the game, they took aspects that happened in the beginning locations and they remixed it. I don't want to give away too much, but there were some things that got remixed, and we seen the familiar character that got switched around, and it was like, whoa, yeah, like, to me, I appreciate that. Like, we're not just playing the same old story. Like, they switched it up, and
they didn't do anything that changed the story. They just kind of made the story a little more detailed to it, a little better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was going to say, I went ahead and looked up how the reviews, and this won't affect how we review it. We're going to give it, you know, a 10 score rating. Are you guys good with that?
Yep.
A 10?
10 delirious dads.
Well, I mean, out of, like, if we're going to score it, it's going to be a 10 scale.
Okay, go. Yeah.
But I was going to tell you what the other places are saying about it right now, and this isn't going to affect how we're going to score it. But I mean, I think you already know we're going to probably score it pretty high. IGN gave it a 9 out of 10. Steam came out and gave it a 10 out of 10. Metacritic right now giving it a
10 out
9.
of 10? When's the last 10 out of 10 game ever that you know of?
Metacritic is rating it. It's at a 91% right now. Average user score is 9.0.
Now I'm semi-biased on games, so we'll wait to give our ratings probably to the end of the review. That's
Yeah.
what I'm thinking here.
Yeah, we can give our scores at the end.
But I can tell you off bat, my score, though I love the game, is probably going to be lower than these other two guys. Slightly, because I have a bias that I'll explain when I get the score.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Now I'm intrigued.
Yeah. Hopefully everybody is.
So we'll start from sound quality. We didn't have the sound blaring because I figure we can go through each aspect of it and then what we thought. So sound quality, like I said, we didn't have it blaring because the way we played it, we had to go ahead and just let it come through the TV speakers just because we didn't really want one person having headset on and everybody else just kind of watching a silent screen and trying to get into it.
Yeah, and Clint does have a sound bar, so you did kind of get right to left. And actually, your sound bar did a decent job, it seemed like, of I could tell when it was up and down
when
I was playing the game.
It doesn't do like complete surround sound behind you, obviously, but it does mimic those. And then I had the subwoofer that gives the rumble, you know.
I might have crapped my pants if it was able to do
Full
sound behind me.
Surround sound.
Now, if it would have been in VR, where it's like you can hear the sound on top of you, I would have flipped.
Can you imagine, like,
when old
Mr.
Big Boy was
X's
coming in,
footsteps behind you and stuff?
Screw that, man. But, so sound quality, sound design, the zombies sounded super scary, way scarier than what they were in the original. At times, they sounded like hulking monsters, and then it would just be this
screams almost, like...
Yeah, like these groans and shrieks, and really had you scared to turn the corner if you heard them. You just have your gun drawn, ready to go.
Oh yeah, it wasn't just the sound quality of the effects, and this is something Resident Evil always been good at, right? So it's like, okay, I hoped the new one would carry that same. Well, when I say Resident Evil's always been good at it, that's a lie. Resident Evil was good at it, and then they weren't good at it because they went into arcadey games for a little while, and then they brought back some of this good eeriness, back with Resident Evil 7, and this one was the sound, the music, right? I remember one moment when I could tell the only reason Hunter was tense was because the music that was tense hadn't stopped yet. So he was all wound up thinking something's about to happen, and then finally he goes, man, this music's acting like something's about to happen, and I could see, I was thinking the exact same thing when he said it. And they did a real good job with the using the music to key moments. Ooh, something's happening here, things are intense, and I really enjoyed that for sure.
Yeah, using sound to play into the atmosphere. They did a really good job of it. And I think that when you can capture that, not just in horror games, but even in horror movies, like horror movies, horror shows, you can tell the difference in a good one and a bad one by how they're able to build tension through their sounds, not even their sights.
There's some good footage you'll see of once I get the Twitch stream edited down. We had literally 8+ hours, so it's going to take me a while to go through it, but I plan on chopping it down to just kind of fun stuff or scary moments just so you can see our reactions, just having it like in a clip montage, and I'm going to post it on our Twitch channel and our YouTube channel. But you will see Hunter at one point literally grab his chest in fear. It was amazing. And that was due partly because of the sound design.
No doubt. Sorry, going back to shows again, there's a Netflix show called The Haunting of Hill House. This show built such a thick atmosphere when you're watching it that you're scaring yourself basically, and it was reminding me of that when we were playing Resident Evil, because there was things going on and you'd hear the music start building and you're like, something's about to happen, and sometimes it wouldn't happen. It was just they were building a tense situation.
Lots of sounds outside of the police station or outside of windows.
Well, I think footsteps. Part of it too is adding to all this is the fact that there's this slight, we've done this before. It's a long time, but there's that nostalgic tie to, oh, I remember this. But they change things up just enough that it's not what you remembered. But that thing adds an element to that tension, that really played out well in the game.
The lighting, if we talk about the lighting of the game, say lighting, I give it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, definitely.
On the atmosphere that they create with it.
Well, just the way the flashlight worked, how it moved, and there was nothing unnatural or weird or like frustrating about why does it do that, or why is it pitch black right here and then full brightness here. Everything I think looked really good. Yeah,
that's something I wanted to give them props for too, is that in some horror games you'll actually miss items because it's so dark in a room.
Oh yeah.
And in this game, I don't feel like there was ever anything hiding in a shadow that was too dark for you to see it there,
Yeah.
And so I think they did a great job with knowing when to, even like the blacked out hallways still had enough lighting in them that you were able to enjoy walking through them. So
graphics wise, The game was, like we said, immaculate.
Yeah,
but I
thought it
really like focusing more on, and Hunter, it may be harder for you to recall because you were so young whenever it first came out. So I know you said you had watched your dad play quite a bit. So, it's probably a little different than me and Ryan being like 12 years old playing it. We can still vividly remember some of those scenes or those environments. And so I remember when I felt really impressed was obviously when you first walk into the police station.
Yeah.
And it's like, aside from adding detail to it, items within the area, the total scene was just like going back in time, but not because it just looked crazy good.
Well,
that
the
was really
difference
impressive.
in depth in like how almost like if you go back and watch the gameplay now, the police station looks smaller. Just because they didn't have the graphics to make it look so... Like when you walk through on the new one, it's a huge hall. Yeah. And you see like the big statue up there, and on the old one, I don't think they could create that depth.
Well, and I think that comes with the fixed cam, because back then they would angle things and it was pre-rendered environments.
Right.
So yeah, you didn't get that scale upward, whereas this, since it's behind the person, you're just getting to look around and do all these things.
Down, yep.
Yeah.
And I think that plays directly into the fact that there's no cutscene for the doors, right? Everything is free-flowing, so you move from one door to another door, and not only are you able to move in and out of doors, right? You can actually, now when you go through the door, you didn't trap the zombie on the other side. The game is continuous. That changed the game drastically. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they come through. I'm glad they don't just come right through. They're zombies, but they don't take forever either. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You can hear them beating on that door, and so you get a sense of, I need to either get out of here or I need to get ready to shoot.
And so it's not like you just shut off that part of the map and I'm good. You got to make a decision. What am I going to do now? Go on to the next room. Now, if you go through more than one room, it seems like they don't, right? I mean, that's what I noticed.
They lose track of you.
Yeah, which makes sense for zombies. How are they going to know what door you went through?
Right.
So I thought that played out pretty smoothly too, and I thought the fact that not everything in the game could go through the doors the same. Each creature was a little different in a way so far, and followed you in different ways and paid attention to you in different ways. And I don't want to give too much away there, but there's definitely some more depth to the variety of characters, not just how they kill you, but how they respond to you, which I thought was really interesting.
They did a lot of good graphics with the zombies. They made tall zombies, short zombies, big zombies.
Yep, fat zombies.
The female zombies looked different. It wasn't just the pre-made.
Some block hair.
Yeah. And even with Resident Evil,
there were a couple repeats, but not very many.
Yeah. Well, even with Resident Evil 7, because I played that on VR, and when I played that, they had some creatures in there that were scary, and they were, they used different textures with it, but it was the same creatures over and over again. If that makes sense. So they were scary, but by the middle of the game, you're like, okay, I can pretty much guess they're all going to pretty much look like this kind of, character. But that was the cool thing about RE2 so far, is that, like you said, you'll come across some that still look similar, right? Overall variety, I didn't get tired of looking at the zombies. I was enjoying seeing the different types and how they would react. Some of them react different.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Another reason you didn't get tired of looking at them is because they not only did they look different, they acted different.
They have face animations.
Yeah, certain ones moved a little faster. Certain ones seemed to respond to you sooner a little bit.
Some would play dead.
Yeah,
you would shoot them down. Yeah, you'd shoot them down, then they would just lay there, and then you go to walk by. Yeah, they'd try to get you.
Yeah.
So it was.
Some of them get all the way back up, right? I don't remember that in the old Resident Evil.
Yeah, I don't remember that
either.
either.
They could crawl around and grab your legs, but that's it.
Right, but the way they did it in the original Resident Evil is if you walked out of the room and came back, then they were standing again.
Yeah.
So you didn't see them get back up. It was a thing.
I remember that.
It was hard to keep them down.
Right.
So you had to remember, like you had to think, is there one in here that I'm going to have to go around? This was part of the game. I was really impressed with the facial animations because it's really easy to say, well, they're a zombie. Like, just make their face dead looking.
Blank, yeah.
And just have them walk towards you with the same blank stare. But, we had mouths dropping open and, I remember clearly right now in my head walking into one of the rooms and there's this girl zombie and her mouth's just wide open walking towards you. It's terrifying.
It almost looked like part of her cheek or something had, like, it was open more than reality. Like,
Yeah,
it had fallen
yeah.
down. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was definitely.
Like gravity had taken over. She'd been dead for so long.
Yeah, yep, and so her skin was allowed to kind of stretch down. And I would say actually that same kind of stuff we saw when you shot him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I was kind of panicking in the beginning, like, what the freak? We got to put 18 bullets in these guys' heads just to kill them? Because like, we only got a couple one-shot kills. And then I realized later, right when we finished playing, I remembered, oh, actually in Resident Evil 2, it was that way. It was the Magnum that gives you those one-shot headshots. We haven't got to play with the Magnum yet,
Right.
but when we play next, I'm sure we're going to see more of those, hit them and quit them. And so I like the variety there, that it was a struggle with the weak gun.
Yeah.
Versus the better gun.
Yeah.
Even the shotgun sometimes didn't put them down in one shot.
Oh, yeah. But the animation of their heads when you shoot them, it's not like, oh, I got shot. Like the damage was done. Part of their cheek would blow off.
You'd see skins like
portion of their
shred
head.
off of the body, and there was bone. And
Oh,
the-
yeah. Part of the
You're
skull
just like-
sticking out on top. I loved it. I loved
Yeah,
it. It
it's
was
just like,
awesome.
oh man, if you don't like gore, that game's not for you. But
Yeah.
geez, it was kind of
What
weird.
would be next?
Mr. X was kind of probably less animated than all the others, but I think that's on
Yeah.
purpose. I think as you go through, you realize, oh well, this is a big, huge Colossus type character. So
I think he's
not
kind of supposed to look emotionless.
Yeah.
right.
that's
He's,
his
he's
face
supposed
is
to be
supposed to stay
almost
pretty
part of
blank.
the environment, right? He's
Right,
coming
yeah.
through. It looks like a big giant wall coming after you in a way.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Well, if I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. X is kind of like
Nemesis.
no, but he's kind of like a tool that's just used against you. It's not like he's against you. Isn't he kind of being
Controlled
directed
and
after
manipulated?
You? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. We haven't
Yeah.
got that far into the story, and we don't, obviously we don't want to give too much out, but yeah.
Well, I'm
that's-
just talking about in the original one. It seems like I remember that. Like Mr. X
Yeah.
didn't really have much of a character.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Here's the thing. I don't remember Mr. X much from Resident Evil 2.
Well, he wasn't in it like this, and I don't want to give away much either. Mr. X has a different role for sure.
I remember the Doctor Monster. I remember fighting
yes.
him, and I remember him coming back a few times in the game. But for the life of me, I just can't. Now, when I go back and see images of Mr. X, like in Resident Evil 2, then it clicks. But for some reason, I just had forgotten about him in my head. So I don't know.
Obviously, just by us talking right now, we haven't played the whole game. There's a little bit of a spoiler there in the fact that you see Mr. X fairly early in the game, and that's definitely different from the old one. I think that plays into the storyline. The way the story's played out so far has been really good to me. It's pulled me in. I've liked the characters we've got to meet. I've liked
And we
their
didn't take
personalities.
we didn't take a lot of time to read the documents. So if you're playing by yourself and you don't feel rushed because you're not streaming, and you don't have your buddies there sitting there with you, going through the documents would probably be pretty interesting. We just kind of cliff noted through as we went, because we were trying to progress and that kind of thing. But yeah, even with us cliff noting through some of the stuff, it was still a really layered,
Oh yeah.
good story. I liked what they did with the Marvin character. He has a much bigger role to play in this Resident Evil 2 than he did in the original one.
And Marvin, you guys probably won't remember. A lot of you guys till you start playing. He's the guy that kind of gets you started in the game.
And then the Ada Wong character, she's been interesting. I kind of don't like her, but that's okay.
I don't like her either, but we don't want to give too much away about her because there's definitely some changes made there too.
Yeah. So I think with that, we'll probably just kind of end that part of it because, I don't want to give too much spoiler away. So
For sure.
I guess, do we want to go ahead and give it a score? Go ahead and rate it here?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to give, from what I've played so far, I think I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
9 out of 10 for, and the reason I say that is because it is a remake. And you can be so sloppy and lazy with a remake. But what I like is, even though it is a remake, I feel like it's so far, it's been so much better done
Yeah, I don't feel like I'm
than
playing
games
the
that
same
are
game
new
again.
nowadays.
Yep.
You get what I'm saying?
I agree.
Like, they took something that was already a staple and an original and a classic, and it's precious to fans, and it's better than a new game that comes out nowadays. And, like, not just better, but, like, way better. You could tell there was love put into it. It didn't seem like there was any budget constraints or anything stupid
Love.
like that.
The things that make games go round.
And it's a must buy if you are a horror genre fan or a survival horror fan.
I'm going to go with an 8.5.
Okay.
Just because I want to be, I don't want you guys to think I'm easy about scoring games or anything. But I do like it. I gave it a high score because of nostalgia. Like you said, I don't feel like they were lazy about it. They came out and tried to make a good product when they could have just been super, followed the exact old game and just made the graphics better. At the same time, there's some things that I feel like could be tweaked on a little bit, and even aspects of the gameplay later on that we're getting to with that Miss Wong girl. I feel like some of her gameplay can be repetitive, and some of the gadgets she uses and stuff. So there's definitely not a snob, but I would go with an 8.5.
Yeah.
What are some of the other things you think you would adjust that you think are maybe not the best?
Well, I don't want to be nitpicky, but just different things like
It's a review. You need to
It's
be
a review, so be picky.
being consistent in. There's a lot of times where we could run by a zombie, and then other times it would glitch out and they'd almost slide across the room and get you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know how you fix that. I'm not a coder. I don't make games, so I don't know how easy that is to fix. But there's just some inconsistency.
You don't really literally mean across the room, but they definitely reach you from further than they usually would. Like
Yeah.
Usually, if you get this right amount of range and you're moving when they're looking this way, they don't get you, and then
Right.
suddenly they just have you.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way.
And if you've ever played Resident Evil, you don't always have ammo. So
But to be fair, or to be, I guess, the other side of the coin, they may have did that for creative reasons. Like, well, we don't want them to be able to always
just-
dodge. We
right.
want them to continually stay in kind of that fear of they can get you,
yeah,
rather than
I like
being.
that.
So
that's a spin. That's a spin I would take if I was a creator.
that may have been what
Yeah.
they were going with. But I think you make a valid point.
Yeah.
And like I said, the score I gave it's probably a little bit biased because out of all the games I ever played in my life, Resident Evil 2 was my game. It was the first adult game that I ever played as a kid.
That's the game I
It
started
just sucked
with.
me in.
The only thing, when I first moved to any kind of a upper end console, when I got PlayStation 1, was Resident Evil 2. I believe it came with it.
Yeah.
And that was it. I mean, that was the game. I was like, wow, I'm a gamer now. Like, that sold me.
Yep.
You know?
This is amazing.
Yeah. But,
Anything else,
as
Hunter?
for-
Anything else you want to throw out there?
no, I think that's basically it. That's a pretty high rating for me.
Yeah.
I'll say that now. I'm really hesitant to give.
So you are a review snob. You said you
Yeah.
don't want to sound like one, but kind of you are.
But
you're
kind of I am.
You're tough as a critic. That's fine.
If I give above a 9, then it's going to be a pretty fabulous game, which Resident Evil is. It's a very fabulous. It's a great game. I'm not knocking it at all. Anybody who's listening who enjoys nostalgia at all or has ever touched a Resident Evil game, you have to play this game.
let me ask something, Hunter. If you can think of something off the top of your head, what game that you've played would you say got above, like a level 9? Just so people know kind of
what's above Resident Evil for you.
Yeah, what's your bread and butter?
And don't say Fortnite or I'll punch you.
No, I don't think I'd ever rate Fortnite in that area.
No.
Man, I would really have to. I'd have to think about that because.
Well, keep it in the back of your head.
I don't know.
And then by the
I would
end of the
even
show,
say
you can
the
give us
Red
an
Dead
answer.
Redemption 2 campaign and game was very close to a 9.
Okay.
I would actually give it a 9. I think I wouldn't give it above a 9.
I've
Okay.
never played it really, other than just.
But
kicking
I'd give
around
it a
with
9.
friends, So okay, so for me, I'm actually falling in an 8.5 too.
Oh, okay.
That's where mine's at. I would give it a 9, and it's almost like I have a boundary. I don't know that I've ever given anything or ever will give anything above a 9. So it's almost like 9's my top. And it's not because I'm a snob. It's just because I don't think I've ever had a game that's just like I thought was perfect.
Right.
Yeah, if it goes
That's
above a
what
9, you probably don't really need anything else, right? Like you probably need to.
Right.
Like, well, I couldn't ask for anything else.
Right, exactly. And
Yeah.
so pretty much if there's any kind of things I would change, it's got to be a 9 for me. I think this game's close to a 9 naturally, but my bias is, and Clint knows because he's played with me for so long, my bias is I'm like a co-op guy. Like I love campaign co-op. Multiplayer's fun too on certain games until they get old. You know what I mean? But
Right.
I like to play with somebody. Now this game, for a single player game, very few single player games even rate above like a 7 for me, even though they can be good because of that. Because you can play, maybe I can play like back when I played some older Splinter Cell games online, and I would play while another friend played, and we'd play through the game together, online, chatting with each other. Well, that makes it fun, but it's not the same. But this game, it gets above that because just like it was when it came out in when we were like 12 years old, it was so playable because it's so scary. You almost can't just play the whole game yourself. Like it's almost like I need a little bit of a tension break, and I want to hand it to somebody else and then watch them play. And it's so good that even while you're watching them play, you still feel like you're playing. Yeah, in a sense, this kind of falls between co-op and single player for me. And I don't know, to some people, I'm sure that resonates. It's almost got that kind of couch co-op vibe to it. And that's why we
Right.
played it together like that. That's why it's able to make it up there, to the 8.5. But really, to get a 9, you have to be like a top tier co-op game in my book.
Yeah.
So that's
Right.
my bias.
Which they could have did that, but I think they didn't. I think they chose not to, just to stay true to the original.
Oh, you couldn't have done it with
But
this
because-
game. People would have been upset.
Well,
Yeah,
well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying, but you could technically because of Leon and Claire.
Right.
You could play off, but
I agree with you though, Ryan. I think even if you guys are able to, if we get that stuff, that content on YouTube or wherever it's going to go, if you watch us, we each have some strengths in the game, and we're playing off of those things, So,
Oh, yeah.
you'll get to see Hunter just want to rip my head off the whole night.
yeah.
Well, think
I was,
about if you were playing that game alone.
yeah.
Like, and I get what you're saying. I don't, part of it is Hunter was just great at remembering where everything was in the sense of the map.
Yeah, he had photographic memory of the map.
Which helped a ton because I didn't have to pull up the map much. As soon as Hunter left, I was on the map all the time,
Yeah.
and so it was one of those things that helped. And for me, my strength is I have fun. So then I just say that because everybody, as you guys get to know as we play games, it's like we can take DayZ, we can take Apex Legends, we can take Call of Duty, no matter what it is. I'm going to be at the bottom of this group of 3 pretty much all the time. Except for maybe some co-op campaign games, and maybe that's why I love those. Like, I do a little better at some of those.
It's a little
so I
more
feel-
evenly balanced. Like you can get by.
You're helping each other.
Yeah, and it's probably because I'm playing against bots too. Not guys that are way better than me. On multiplayer games. My offering when we play together is I bring joy to the group.
Good wisecracks. Makes everybody
Oh,
laugh.
yeah, for sure.
I'll be interested to see if they do any DLC with this, or if they're just going to leave it just. This is the remake. Here you guys go. Have fun with that.
They need to put the merchant from Resident Evil 4 in this game. How you doing, stranger?
Would it
Or
be sweet if at the end they just added like a whole little chapter, like a whole little new?
or if they're just like, here's Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. No, that'd probably be its own game.
Yeah.
That's a cash cow right there. I want to play the original. I'd like to see the original mansion redone.
Well,
So
so as you guys can tell, we're only one session into the game. It's good.
Yep.
It's worth playing.
thumbs up.
Yep.
We're
I
not
guess
one of those people that give even 8s all the time. You know what I mean? I think the fact that it's up there like that, and it's single player. Play with some friends though, guys. Get nostalgic. Invite some friends over.
Yep. Or even if you're just in Discord together, just running through, or streaming on your Twitch. Your buddy can watch you on Twitch. You guys can play together.
Yeah. Don't be a hermit. Staying at home.
Yeah.
Jump in with some friends. That's what gaming's all about.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that's pretty much going to do this episode. We had a lot of information. It was a good week of gaming. A good time overall.
Oh yeah, definitely had a blast. Make sure you are checking out our Facebook and all that kind of stuff, and sharing and helping us grow. We appreciate your support and your comments and all that kind of stuff. And stay delirious.
And stay daddy.
And stay gaming. Thank you for listening to the Delirious Dads Gaming Podcast. For more information on our product, you can visit our website at deliriousdadsgaming.com. Also, be sure to check out our Facebook page, where we give up-to-date information on the show, on what's going on in our lives, and news within the gaming world. Please be sure to share and like our page, as we want to try to grow our community and our audience. You can find our podcast on podbean.com. We're also located on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, and Stitcher. Thank you for listening to the show. We look forward to seeing you next time.